Hey, what's up? My name is Aurelia Michael-Holmgren, and I am the proud founder and lead coach for Voice on Demand. Welcome to the family. Yes, you are already family, even though this may be your first connection with us. But don't worry, afterwards, we'll talk more about your connection, growth, and journey with Voice on Demand. Enjoy the masterclass. Talk soon. Hey, what's up? And welcome to the revised edition of 4 Ways I Made 5 Figures in Just 6 Months and Without an Agent. Now, I could have easily allowed our old version to continue to rock, but at Voice on Demand, we believe in upgrading as the industry changes and honestly, as my perspective on these 4 ways changes. Let me know afterwards what you think at hello@ourvoiceondemand.com, and I hope to work with you soon. All right, let's jump into it. Today's agenda. We're going to talk about Voice on Demand, talk about my journey, not as important, the power of numbers, the quote unquote 4 ways, and then now what? What do we do? Voice on Demand was created in October of 2020. We were at the height of you know what, and it was extremely important that we connected and supported one another. So we are dedicated to helping the voiceover community, especially BIPOC artists, find, honor, and project the power of their voice through the game-changing income stream of voiceover. We're a family. We're deeply rooted in supporting the voices of largely underrepresented populations in the industry. We're determined to support all corporates, creatives, and multi hyphenates looking to own their opinions, stretch their limiting beliefs, and gain and sustain unconditional confidence. So, whether you're looking to do this as a part time hobby or a full time career, Voice on Demand is the perfect place to start. So, a little bit about my voiceover journey. I started in October of 2017 while I was doing the Donna Summer musical on Broadway. And I had a lot of money, so people took advantage of that. And I went to school for it and I bought a bunch of equipment. And when I finished my last session, it was a home studio session with the quote unquote coach. They told me my demo all sounded the same. They told me I couldn't compete with people who did it full time if I decided to do it part time. And when I asked for any tools, tips, tricks to being successful, their only answer was work with me. And they caught me on the right day, and my confidence was shot. I tried to sell all my equipment and put it behind me. But when it came to June of 2020, I decided with my life coaching company at the time, Aurelia Michael Living, we decided to do a 30-day challenge. And a friend of mine said, let's do 30 days of voiceover. That's what she decided to do. And I suddenly felt this conviction. And she connected me to her coach, who is now my coach, Christopher Grant, who also works with Voice on Demand. And the rest is history. I remember being in a session with him and saying, I just want to make back the $2,500 that I spent. And after listening to my demo and coaching me in that session, he said, you're going to do that and some. And that's how I was able to make my 5 figures in those first 6 months without even seeking representation. So I've had the pleasure of working with one of my dream childhood nostalgia companies, McDonald's. I'm signed with Atlas Talent Agency that I love very much. I think at this time it's going on our maybe 7th year. I've had the opportunity to dub for Netflix films, which is one of my favorite things to do. But most importantly, I've been able to create Voice on Demand and to help others get into this industry and make sure that they get into it in a way that I didn't. I want everyone that comes through our doors to feel welcome, to feel encouraged. We don't use intimidation as a way to get you to join our family. So let's talk about the power of numbers. So let's pause for a second. You're going to hit pause after I say this. Put in the comments below which of the 3 numbers attracted you the most and why. Was it that it was 4 ways? Was it that it was 5 figures? Or that it was done in 6 months? Okay, go hit pause. Did you really hit pause? Okay, if you didn't pause right now, put it in the comments. So let's talk about the power of numbers. So 4 ways. Some of the things that I heard, they must be some major ways. Yes, they are. Is that all that it takes? That's the foundation. And that amount seems doable. Absolutely. And they all start with C's to help you remember them during your journey. 5 figures. I could get with that. Absolutely. And you should. That much off of your voice, people are out here making millions of dollars off of their voice. And then teach me your ways. Absolutely, grasshopper. And 6 months, that's a short amount of time. Yes, I pushed a lot. It wasn't about just the quantity of work. We'll talk about that in a second, but the quality of what I was putting out. Did you audition full time? No, I did not. I was still at that time very heavily into musical theater, TV, film, and dance. And how'd you get it so soon? That's what we're going to talk about in these 4 ways. By honing in on these and removing temporary satisfactions and distractions from my day to day, I was able to really focus on the prize. And that was getting to those. Well, really, at that time, it was just paying off everything I paid for my demo, my training, and my equipment. So, what is the 456 promise? So, the original name of this masterclass was 4 ways you can make 5 figures in 6 months. But if there's one thing that any artist knows, and even corporate folks these days, there is no guarantee or a linear path. It's not always as linear as it may seem. So while this is not a get rich quick scheme masterclass, sorry if that's what you showed up for, these 4 methods will do the following: challenge you to take the inventory of life balance and time management skills in a new way. Notice I didn't say work life balance because to me, that does not exist. Your work is inside your life. So, how can you balance something that is inside something else? So, it's going to challenge you to take inventory of your life balance and time management skills in a new way, help you recognize the correlation between how we handle life and how we handle voiceover. So, a lot of times I tell people if you allow it, voiceover won't just change your bank account, it can change your life. So, for instance, if I have a client who it takes 2 or 3 sessions to warm up to me, it's probably going to take them 4 to 5 takes to warm up to a script. So, by getting them closer and closer to getting their favorite read as their first read, they're also going to start becoming more comfortable in life, meeting strangers and putting their whole self out there right from the jump. If I have a client who's constantly comparing themselves to me and saying, "Oh, I wish I could do it like you," or "I'm not as professional as you," they're probably doing a lot of compare and compete outside of the booth as well. And they're not paying attention to what they bring to the table, just what they see others. So you'll start to notice in our sessions, if we do one on one coaching, or if you're in a group class, the correlation. And then prepare you with the next steps needed to begin your VO journey and get any of your burning questions answered. So, a lot of times, um, you can experience information overload. And by Googling how to get into voiceover, you'll get 50,000 ways. So we try to keep it at Voice on Demand as simple and bare bones as possible so that you don't get overwhelmed with all the information that is out there because there is a lot. All right, let's get into the ways. So the 4 ways that most people would order them is capital, the money, confidence, consistency, and then at some point, I'll meet other people. But at Voice on Demand, we believe in starting with community first, then consistency, then confidence, and then we get to the money. So let's talk about community. Now, I will admit I am a community junkie. I love connecting with people. I love helping people. I love being there for folks, seeing them shine, seeing them doing their thing. So I start with I am because they are. I am because they are. I am a product of the people I keep closest to me. Every achievement I've ever gotten, every company I've started, every special moment, every memory, it's a product of the one I serve and the people who love and support me. So if you're starting your VO journey, now is the time to let people in on your adventure. You don't have to wait until you book a job or buy equipment. You can share your journey right now. So go ahead and text a friend, take a picture of this screen, go like this with your phone and say, hey, starting my voiceover journey. Because people want to see it. People don't just need to see the finished product, they want to see your beginning steps. So start right now and already be proud of yourself for the first step that you're taking. This can and will be a lonely pursuit if you let it. When you join our Basics to Bookings program, for example, or take a few of our classes or coaching sessions, you're automatically invited into our inner circle. This is a space for you to connect with other ambitious artists who are just as excited to see you thrive as you are. Accountability partnering also is key, from your coach to also your peers. So, my best friend TJ and I have been accountability partners since 20 March of 2020. We meet every Sunday or Monday to talk about things we did better this week, things we could do better for the next week. And that has helped us progress, not just as artists, not just as entrepreneurs, but as people. So at Voice on Demand, we'll push you to have an accountability partner, whether that's someone within the community or outside, to make sure that every week you are committing to the things you said. Because in this industry, and probably every industry, no one is going to wake you up and say, hey, knock, knock, knock. Did you do your auditions today? Did you take that headshot today? Did you work on that script today? A lot of it is in your hands. So accountability partnering is so key. And then lastly, learning from feedback, breakdowns, and breakthroughs of others, especially in our classes, will really help you see that you're not alone. You're not the only one with challenges when you first start. Everyone comes with their own baggage. As long as you're willing to be coachable, you're excited about being a student and vulnerable enough to take critique, you'll be a force to be reckoned with. And lastly, because I got to do it, let's give you some homework. And so you can go back and watch this again or take a second right now after I say this and write it down. So I want you, this will also be in the description. Think of the first three people you'd want to share your voiceover journey with and how they can possibly help push your career forward in the present or future. So, for instance, you may have a friend who's starting a podcast and needs an introduction. You may have a friend who's writing a book and may want you to read the first chapter as an audiobook for them. You may know someone who works for a company that needs to create videos, informational videos for their company. So think of three people, your initial street team. Write those three people down and how they can push you forward. And after this, I want you to reach out to them and let them know what you have going on just to start planting the seed. You got that all down? All right, let's jump into consistency. So what you see in the background here is an old picture from a pay-to-play site I used to be a part of, voices.com, when I first started. And what you can see here, just to look at it briefly, are the amount of demo listens, how many people favorited my demo, the amount of audition listens, the invitations received, how many I've done. So yes, that is 2,263 auditions at that time. How many were shortlisted, which is kind of like a callback, how many jobs I've done, my booking ratio, and my average earning per job. So this game is all about consistency. This isn't something you can pick up once a month and then say, why aren't I seeing results? What's happening? So consistently, more or less, oh, more is less, but sometimes more can be more as well. So in the world of VO, more is more. More quality auditions, but definitely also a higher quantity of auditions, training, and overall consistency. It's so important. So, why it's great to make sure, okay, I'm editing this and it sounds great. We can't spend 40 minutes on a 30-second audition. We've got to be moving. So, it's consistency really comes once you become consistent, you'll become more efficient. You'll be able to edit faster. You'll be able to get to your favorite take faster. You won't get so caught in your head because to me, voiceover is not a head thing, it's a heart thing. You'll get into your heart. So, really making sure that you're getting in quality auditions and a good quantity. Evolving from the honeymoon phase with a plan and realistic viewpoint. So, what is the honeymoon phase? This class. Then you do maybe a private. Then you take some classes. Then you make your demo and you get your equipment and maybe you get Source Connect if you know what that is. And then you start auditioning. And then you keep auditioning. And then you keep auditioning. And so we come out of that honeymoon phase into that real VO love where auditioning is the job, booking the job is the vacation. And what often happens, why people stop, is because they want to go on vacation before they've even put in enough time at work. And it just doesn't work that way. Now, some people get lucky. My agents always joke about how they had me on probation and I booked a national in my first 3 weeks. So there are moments, I don't say there's people that there's just the right moment at the right time with the right audition and the right casting and all those things kind of mixed together. But for many of us, it could be 100 auditions. Are you willing to do 100 auditions before your first booking? Are you already in that mindset versus, okay, in the first 10, if I don't book it, I'm done. So, really making sure that we're not trying to go on vacation too early. Earn those hours. Embracing that auditioning is the job, booking the job is the vacation, and expecting and preparing for the inconsistencies that are bound to arrive. So when I was doing two theater shows in 2022 in June and October, I also was doing a bodybuilding show. I was preparing for a bodybuilding show top of November. I didn't do voiceover for 6 months. I had to be honest with myself. I didn't really want it at the time. I was extremely tired. I was extremely hungry. I was extremely thin, and I was not interested. And so I told my agency, and they completely understood because why would they want to sit and listen to an audition that they know is not going to be my best? And I said, hey, I think I'm going to need some time off because I'm in rehearsals 10 to 12-hour days, 1 day off. The last thing I want to do is go into my closet and start recording. So you have to be honest with moments in life where you need to take a step back. A lot of our clients, that's why we create the community first, is so that you can still stay connected. You're still getting our weekly What's New Wednesday emails. You're still getting connected. You can still pop in and take a class and just get your feet wet again, as opposed to completely letting it go and then looking back and going, man, if I had just continued. We always want to leave grace and space for people. All right, homework time. Get your papers out again. I want you to read out loud this week for 5 minutes a day. So, reading a book if you're reading one right now, magazine article. Get used to saying when we do voiceover, we're saying words most of the time that we already know, but we're saying them in someone else's order. So get used to saying other people's words, the order they created, as if you wrote it. Read things you see at home or in the street. It can be anything, but start getting in the habit of reading something not like a consumer, but like a voiceover artist. All right, let's keep going. How y'all doing over there? Good? Confidence. This is the confident girl right here, okay? In your face. So when I started life coaching in October 2011, my company was actually called Confidence is Key, which key stood for knowledge, evaluation, and experimentation. Knowing who you are in this moment, evaluating whether what you're doing and saying and surrounding yourself with was an asset or liability to your journey, to your goals, and then experimenting and trying new things. Because I believe then, and I believe now, that confidence is the center. It is key. If you really believe that something can happen, when I wanted to pursue Broadway, I decided it was already in motion. It was already happening behind my back. The emails were already being created. And what would take people 8 to 10 years took me 8 months because I already had the confidence and the belief in myself that skies were the limit. I know I could do this. So, really measuring as you're getting into VO, where is my confidence level on a 1 to 10 already at? And where do I want to take it? So, confidence is created from relentless consistency, and falling in love with your voice is the foundation. Confidence comes from doing something consistently that you couldn't get right until you can't get it wrong. Now, while there's no right or wrong in voiceover, I don't believe. So, someone may say, my read wasn't right. It wasn't right. It was wrong. No, there are safe choices, there are inauthentic choices, and then there's daring choices. There's truth telling choices, but there's no bad or good. I'm really big on when we're in a session, I have you give me your feedback first. Because when you're in the booth, I'm not going to always be there. Most of the time, I'm not going to be there. You need to be your own coach. So you need to also make sure that you're confidently critiquing yourself as well. And the foundation is falling in love with your voice. Even on a bad day, if you're like, oh, I sound a little hoarse today, but my voice is so beautiful. You have to fall in love with it because when you're in love with it and you start talking, the client hears that. It's like when someone loves something that you have no interest in and you get geeked up because you're like, oh my gosh, you are so into this. It makes me into it. It's the same thing when you're submitting your auditions. And then releasing the idea that you can sound like what they want, they being the client or they being the middleman, part of the production company, without knowing, they don't even know what they want to begin with. So make sure you're sounding like you. I always tell clients, you have 10 auditions and you give 10 different versions of you, more than likely you're not going to book any of them. But if you give you, if you do you in every audition, of course you're not going to, that doesn't mean we stay monotone or we give the exact same delivery, but if you are being you at your core, at your essence, you're going to book more jobs because now you'll know somebody's going to pick up what I'm putting down. Somebody's going to be into this versus let me keep altering myself. A lot of times I correlate dating with voiceover. If you go on 10 dates and you decide to be someone else every single time, one, you're going to forget who you were with the person that may be interested, that one person that may be interested. But also, you're not giving a person an opportunity to fall in love with the real you. Sorry, I might be in your business right now, but it's the same thing. They want you. They don't know what they want until they hear it. And if they did, they would just go and get that person. I've been rehired for jobs. They're very clear. If they know what they want, they'll go get it. If not, that's why they have an audition. And the whiz of VO, Paul Liberty, if you've never heard of him, do your research. He always says the actor's always right. So I want you to trust that. You are always right. Be aware of who you share your dreams with. Not everyone is out to help you win. So you have to be careful. Sometimes we can share our big dreams with small vision people, and especially as artists. Are you sure you can make money off of this? I feel like everybody's doing it. It's so popular now. And I feel like a lot of times people do that with, they don't do that with becoming a dentist or becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer. But when you want to do something in the arts, oh, it's so oversaturated. Or it's, yes, but there's only one you. And so you have to be careful to make sure you have the confidence to surround yourself with people who support you and shut people down respectfully if they try to come across, like I understand you're concerned, but at the end of the day, this is my life and this is what I want to do. And I'm excited about it. And then trust your instrument and be willing to take risks and have fun. So together, we will build your confidence to trust your vocal. This is the most important equipment. It's not $1,000 microphone. It's not an interface. It's not a reflection filter. It is your voice, not the mic, not the pop filter. It is you. So really making sure that you are starting to trust this, be okay with, okay, that wasn't my best take. I like to call, like, if I'm working with someone, I say, okay, right now that was a 5-take Tina. We got to it on the 5th take. Then soon will become 4-take Tina, 3-take Tina, 2-take. And then one day you're just going to do your first take and be like, that was it. That's what they wanted me. And before I go into homework, I just also want to say, if they don't know what they want, how can you know what they want? So just show them who you are. And at some point, there's a client that's going to want just that. But if you keep adjusting your temperature, your thermostat to everyone's apparent liking, you're never going to be able to share your voice. And to me, this is bigger than, so whenever I work with a client, we start with our whys. You always have 2 whys, one why for you, one why bigger. So the why for me for voiceover initially was I wanted to make back that money. But that wasn't enough to get me up every day to audition. So what the why was beyond me was I wanted everyone that ever crossed my path to listen to their voice, love their voice more than ever before. And I wanted to leave a legacy. I want my great great grandchildren to go back to ispot.tv and type in a commercial and go, oh my gosh, that's my great 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 grandmother talking about hydradenitis suppurativa, which was a national commercial that I've done. So, what are your whys as you're starting to get into this? Start to think about the why for you and what's the why that's bigger than you. And that's going to get you up every day. So, for homework, and this one might take you a little time, so I want you to work on it. Create a 30-second commercial, 30-second video. It could be of you, like a day in the life. A lot of people are doing that these days. And I want you to voice over it. And I want you to put that out there, whether that's in your close friends on Instagram or send it to a few friends in a group chat. I want you to start getting in the habit, even if you're using a regular microphone or like a corded microphone. I want you to start getting in the habit of listening to your voice, not as a consumer, but as a VO artist. Oh, and I didn't mention take risks and have fun. And speaking of such things, let's check out a job that I did.
Last Friday, this guy stole a package right off my porch. Or at least that's what would have happened if I didn't have Vivint. Instead, this is what really happened. Camera detects package. Thief walks up. Camera scares thief.
Camera recording.
Thief runs away. Recording crime is nice, preventing it is better. Visit Vivint.com and start protecting your home today. Vivint, all is well.
So when I did that audition, when I say I was in the booth, thief walks up, camera scares thief, thief runs away. I was having so much fun to the point where when I got on the job, they were like, okay, on this part, can you tone it down a little? That's what we want. We want them to say, wow, they threw everything in there. I want to work with them, but let's ask them to dial it back. 9 times out of 10, they'll ask you to dial it back. But if you don't give them enough to work with and they've listened to the same script, because you're all reading the same script, they heard the same thing 50 times, they're not going to go, I wonder if Aurelia could bring a little more to the table. So I want you to have fun with this. This should be fun. When it starts to feel like a job, when it starts to feel overwhelming, when it starts to feel detrimental, you have to pull away. This should be an asset to your life. It shouldn't feel like it's a hindrance. It shouldn't feel like it's making you feel bad about yourself. It should get you really excited. All right, last but not least, we've made it. Capital. Let's talk about the money. So I know most people want to start with this, but I think it's important to cover all those other ones first because with those, the money will come. So there's always going to be an initial investment with anything, but there's going to be an initial investment when you're getting into voiceover. I cover these more specifically in our intro course. That's a part of our Basics to Bookings Academy. But from training to equipment to audition sites and so on, while it's not super expensive, you are going to have to pay to play. We work together to what I call ball on a budget and make sure that we get you a nice starter kit set that you can always upgrade in the future. The good thing is you don't really need to buy new things. You just need to upgrade the things you already have. So once we have our mic, our stand, our interface, our gooseneck, if we're holding up an iPad, all we may need to do in the future as the money rolls in is upgrade the space and upgrade the equipment. And I know sometimes we want to cut corners in our art. So I've had people come into, we do consults. I have people come into the consult and they're basically just looking for some, I'm trying to get in, I'm trying to make money. Clients are like therapists. They are listening to people all day. And right away, they can tell what you're in this for because you're going to rush. You're not going to connect to the script. You're going to gloss over important key moments. You're going to probably edit too tight because you're in a rush. So we really want to make sure we're not cutting corners in our art the same way we don't cut corners with our dentist, the same way we don't cut corners with our nail technician, the same way with our barber, we don't want to cut corners with our art. There are far too many people doing this thing for us to be doing it halfway. And I know VO can seem very easy, right? Because we talk every day. And so a lot of people go, oh, well, it shouldn't be that hard. But like art, like any art, there is timing and technique to everything. A lot of times I say, take this technique, take everything you learn, throw it out the window. Not completely, but we don't want to get so caught in our technique that we forget what makes us so special to begin with, which was the raw talent that we started voiceover with. So while it can seem easy, we have to be willing to invest money, time, and focus. Even if you're considering this a side hustle, the investment goes beyond the finances. The mental and focus capital must be devoted to VO as well, especially in the beginning. Doesn't always have to be that way. There are a lot of things I do now that I didn't do. There are a lot of things I don't do now that I did when I first started. So my clients, I'll say, do as I say, not as I do now. But that just comes with time. I'm able to read a script right away. I don't always have to read it first to jump into my natural instincts. But that's because not only am I doing this every day as an artist, I'm doing this every day as a coach. I'm looking at the script with them, thinking about listening to their choices. So it's constantly on my radar. So, really making sure that you're also making the mental room for this. And casting, like I said, casting can hear when your read, where your read's truly coming from. So, you want to be honest. When I'm working with a client, I'm like, hey, you missed this entire point. You didn't give your opinion there. Were you really connected? Let's step back. Let's not make this about this company. Let's make it about a time you did something that so many other people hesitated to do and you went for it. Now, when you're reading the script, think about that moment. Don't imagine, sometimes a lot of coaches will go, so imagine that you work for this company and you're in front of them, in front of thousands of people talking. No, that's not real life. It's me and you on a computer, probably on Zoom, or it's you in your booth. So we don't need to play pretend. We need to connect to a real experience, a real past moment that can help propel us forward. And then coaches, classes, and courses can actually save you time, money, and mistakes. Cat sometimes once someone once said, why do y'all charge so much? That's literally what they said in the when we did our open house, which so much, right, is relative to each person. But I can tell you why training and training with me is a worthy investment because coaches help you with the cheat codes. Coaches help you from missing out on money in the future. I had a client once who did 70 auditions, not realizing their mic was sideways or backwards or off. So our job is to kind of sit back. Something's going on. Is there a buzz? Is there a hum? Oh, your AC is on. Yeah, we need to turn that off. It's affecting our X, Y, and Z. Our job is to help you get, if you ever done played Super Mario, it's to help you get to that next level faster. Not too fast, but faster and more authentic and more fun. So coaches are the soundboard. They're your accountability partner. They're your truth teller that your friend may or may not be equipped to tell you the truth for this industry. And in the end, people who pay attention. When you invest in me, that's letting me know that you trust me. That's letting me know that you're serious. And when I'm being invested in, I'm leveling up as well. I'm making sure that I'm giving you what I know I'm worth and what I know you're worth. And that's extremely important in every session I do. We're mutually investing in one another. And together, I always say, if we're really doing our thing, we're really focused, you'll make that money back and some. All right, last homework. You ready? I want you to write down the first 2 to 3 ways you'd like to invest either money, time, or attention to your voiceover journey. Whether that's signing up for a consult, diving right into our Basics to Bookings Academy, which allows you to pay in full, in half, or monthly. Your time. Do you want to dedicate 3 days, 10 minutes each day to reading out loud, to working on a script? Or attention? Do you want to start watching videos on voiceover? Do you want to listen to podcast episodes and get an idea of what's happening in the industry and what people are looking for? So think about how you'd want to do that. And now we'll take a quick moment. I want to share voiceover coaching that I actually did on the spot when we did the 456 Masterclass live. So you can get an idea of my coaching style and you can see how someone can shine from when they first read a script to the end. Here we go. Kenya, you there? You about to do this script. You ready? Awesome.
Okay. Let's go. Kickoff is in a few minutes. Everyone is on their way, and the spread is only missing the chicken. The clock is ticking, and I can't leave. I'll get a 40-piece McNuggets delivered from McDonald's. Those golden, crispy, mouth-watering, juicy nuggets dipped into the oh so tangy barbecue sauce. All right, it's time for a last-minute play. I'm going for glory and ordering McDelivery on DoorDash and Uber Eats. Let's win this thing. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's, prices may be higher than at restaurants. Delivery fees, other fees may apply.
Woo! Awesome, awesome. So let's talk about this. I know you just jumped on in. Let's go, Kenya. Let's talk about this script real quick. So this script obviously is something related to sports. It's got that kind of it's called For the Win. This is the McDonald's spot that I did. And when we talk about inconsistency, I booked this job. I did this job. 2 directors had opposing views and it got cut. That's just the way VO goes sometimes. You still just got to roll with it. So what I really love, Kenya, was the urgency you had behind it. One, because we only have 30 seconds. And this wasn't even, they ended up having to cut the script because it was too long. But what I really liked is how you kept the speed going. So here's a few notes that I would give if we were coaching together. We want to give a little bit more description because this is, you see at the top, it says original radio. This is for radio, which means what? They can't see the mouth-watering, juicy nuggets dipped into that sauce. So we have to basically take this story and bring it to life so that they can see it. Also, the legal at the bottom, so that's that like, for $5.99, you can find them. So at participating McDonald's, prices may be higher than at restaurants. So it's got a little bit of speed to it. Then we want to also make sure we have our pause moments. You said, but it's aha, or aha. I'll get the 40-piece McNuggets delivered from McDonald's. So McDonald's is the most important word on this entire script because that is the name of the company. Otherwise, these juicy, mouth-watering golden nuggets, y'all remember those with the sweet and sour barbecue sauce? They could be from anywhere. They could be from Costco's. We don't know. But I really love how you had that speed. And we just want to make sure that we slow down, give a little drama here. You have this huge party. It's a Super Bowl party. You got 40 people coming over and you ain't got no chicken. I'm going to be a little dramatic. And everything is only missing the chicken. The clock is ticking and I can't wait. Aha. So every commercial has a problem and a solution. So the problem is you got 40 people coming over and you ain't got no chicken. The solution is if I do this order right now, oh yeah, it's going to be some drama. That's like you came with some bad mac and cheese to the Thanksgiving dinner. Don't you do it. And then at that end, we do McDelivery on DoorDash and Uber Eats. Let's win this thing. And then now, apparently, you could say ba-da-ba-ba-ba however you like. If you listen, I had to listen to some of the newer McDonald's commercials, and they're not the classic sound we used to hear. So you can also play with that. Great work. All right, JoJo. I'm excited.
You've owned your car for 5 years. You've named it Brad. You love Brad. You two have been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs, and then you total him. Nobody's hurt, but there will be pain. It comes when your insurance company says they'll only pay 3/4 of what it will take to fix him. What are you supposed to do? Drive 3/4 of Brad? Now, when you have Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you get your whole car back. At Liberty Mutual, they know how much Brad means to you and how hard it is to drive around on 3 wheels. Liberty Mutual. See car insurance in a whole new light.
Awesome work. All right. So what I really love, flow, clarity, articulation, but it wasn't over articulating everything. My first initial thought was slow down. If you and I were chatting, we kiki all the time. Aurelia, you've owned a car for 5 years. You named it Brad. Yeah, you love Brad. You two been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs, and then you total them. Now, nobody's hurt, girl, but there will be pain. So that's the problem, right? So our problem is we've been through everything. We done wrecked, and this car was everything to me, and now it done wrecked it. Now we bring the solution. And so the second half has all these jokes to it. Like, what am I supposed to drive? 3/4 of bread? And how hard is it to drive around? They know how hard it is to drive around on 3 wheels. And then the final joke is at the end. See car insurance in a whole new light. Because this whole time we've been talking about not being able to have a whole car. So let's just give it one more round. I want you to start with Aurelia. So I'm so distraught right now. I have this, my car is totaled. I don't know what to do. I call you, I say, JoJo, Brad is gone. I think Brad is gone.
Okay. All right. Like, actually say your name.
Yep.
Aurelia, you've owned your car for 5 years. You've named it Brad. You love Brad. You two have been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs, and then you total him. Nobody's hurt, but there will be pain. It comes when your insurance company says they'll only pay 3/4 of what it will take to fix him. What are you supposed to do? Drive 3/4 of Brad? Now, when you have Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you get your whole car back. At Liberty Mutual, they know how much Brad means to you and how hard it is to drive around on 3 wheels. Liberty Mutual, see car insurance in a whole new light.
Yes. All right. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed coaching. So, what can I do now? That's going to go back to what we've been talking about, the Basics to Bookings Academy. So, the Basics to Bookings Academy was created because as I mentioned, I went to school for this and I spent a lot of money. And unfortunately, I didn't feel like I got the support, especially post demo creation, that I desired. So in the Basics to Bookings program, we start with our consult, we go over our plan, and then you watch a 25 plus video course called the Ultimate Voiceover course, TUVO for short. And there's homework and resources and supplemental materials for almost every video. And then you'll go into 8 one-on-one sessions with me. So the reason why I don't like to do what's in the course in the sessions is I don't think you should waste money going over things that you're going to need a second to digest, that are truly the foundation, so that by the time we get into the coaching sessions, you know what an ABC is, you know what a track is, you know more or less how to edit, you understand equipment and what is necessary, you understand the industry more, as opposed to going over all of that in a session. During that time as well, depending on where you are in your journey, depending on how fast we're able to move, we may be able to create a starter demo, just something for you to put out to the world on your socials, on your website. And if you're interested in a pay-to-play site, we'll work together to get you on one. We'll get your account set up. We'll take a look at the auditions. We'll get you auditioning. We'll work on an audition together. And then in our sessions, we'll I'll listen to your auditions that you've done during the week, give you feedback. If they haven't listened to it yet, we'll give redirection. And then once you've moved on, a lot of people come to my other company, Goal Setter Success, which is goalsettersuccess.com, and they start doing weekly membership coaching with me. So you join this monthly membership program, and every week you submit auditions to me, you submit your questions to me, and it's pretty much helping you moving forward when you don't really need to do 1-hour sessions. You just need to consistently check in with somebody to make sure you're getting things done. Thank you so much for watching this masterclass. Now, when I say reach out, I know I do live in LA, but this is not Hollywood talk. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you're interested in. I want to get you set up for the Basics to Bookings Academy. And most importantly, I want to get you connected to our community. So email me at hello@ourvoiceondemand.com. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what stood out to you. Let me know what surprised you. Let me know what didn't surprise you. And I cannot wait to work together.
Oh, well, look at you. You made it. I knew you would. I hope you enjoyed the masterclass, and I hope that it left you excited, encouraged, and ready to take on the next step. All you need to do now is look below in our notes on how we can help guide and support your journey. I hope we get to work together soon. Peace.